What's up, Taiwan? I'm Sandy Chi with news from here in Taiwan and around the world. A delegation of U.S. defense companies is holding talks with businesses in Taiwan for further security cooperation. Our reporter Jaime Ocon was at the event.
25 of the top U.S. defense contractors are here in Taiwan's capital, Taipei. They're looking to step up security cooperation with local defense companies, and the focus is on drone technology. The U.S. is Taiwan's biggest defense partner, with almost all of the country's top weapons coming from America.
The bond that ties the two countries together is enormously important. And our delegation this springtime, is here to talk about partnership with Taiwan industry on the basis of trust that wasn't accumulated yesterday or over the past week, but that has been built over decades of working together.
Over the years, the U.S. has sold everything from warships to mine layers to Taiwan. But drones are a relatively new development. Recently, the unmanned vehicles have proven themselves on the battlefields of Ukraine. Earlier this year, Taiwan's military said it would work together with the Zhongshan Institute, its largest weapons maker, to build a drone fleet. The fleet is scheduled to enter service by 2024 and is aimed at deterring any would-be attackers.
Deterrence is a word that is used to say just that. Building a defense capability so a nation can defend itself against an aggressor. Creating a deterrence value so that we may never have to go to war.
It comes as Taiwan faces a growing threat from China, which claims the country as part of its territory. Beijing has stepped up its military provocation in recent years, increasingly flying fighter jets and sailing warships near Taiwan.
Taiwan needs to realize a paradigm shift with respect to defense industry cooperation and quickly develop a symmetry tactic to meet these challenges.
Taiwan has shown it is taking the threat seriously, spending large amounts on its military in recent years. That includes buying systems like the Sea Guardian drones from the U.S., combat aircraft armed with anti-ship weapons. Taiwan's military is also looking into how it can retrofit civilian drones for military use. Part of that process involves further cooperation with the U.S., as many communication and radar systems inside the drone come from American manufacturers. The U.S. has provided more than $20 billion in weapon sales to Taiwan since President Tsai Ing-wen took office in 2016. And as this forum proves, that support is unlikely to stop anytime soon. Andy Shui and Jaime Ocon in Taipei for TaiwanPlus.
Taiwan's military has spotted a Chinese drone flying around the country's main island. It's the second reported sighting of a drone encircling Taiwan. The BZK-005 drone is used for reconnaissance. It was seen crossing the median line of the Taiwan Strait north of the island. It then flew down and around the southwestern corner of Taiwan's Air Defense Identification Zone, or ADIZ. 27 Chinese warplanes were also spotted around the region in the span of 24 hours. Out of those, 13 breached Taiwan's ADIZ. The space is used by the military for security purposes, but isn't part of the country's territory. Taiwan's army has conducted joint combat drills in the southern county of Pingtung. The exercise mainly focused on gunnery practice and involved Black Hawk and Cobra helicopters. It's the latest sign of Taiwan's military stepping up its preparedness as China increases its military activity in the region. Lawmakers have passed new rules to protect Taiwan's agricultural property rights. The amendments ban the import and export of plant seedlings. Violators could be jailed up to 3 years or fined up to $100,000. The move follows China's ban on Taiwan pineapple imports in 2021. The country then started its own production of the popular Taiwan-developed pineapple variety. Taiwan health officials have held a banquet to thank those who helped the country during the pandemic. The Central Epidemic Command Center invited over 50 organizations, but unions representing airline workers refused the invitation. Bing Wang has more.
A moment of silence for the 19,000 Taiwanese people who died from COVID-19. Just days after officially disbanding, the Central Epidemic Command Center, or the CECC, hosted a banquet to mark the end of the pandemic. Taiwan's President Taiwan handed out medals at the event to those who helped the country during the pandemic.
在整个过程中，要感谢的人实在是太多了。台湾有你们真好。
Taiwan received worldwide praise for its handling of the pandemic, implementing early quarantine measures and reducing domestic transmission of COVID. Over 50 organizations were invited to the banquet, but not all were eager to attend. The Taiwan pilots and flight attendants unions declined the offer, citing their mistreatment as workers. During the pandemic, pilots and flight crew felt they were made to quarantine in an unending cycle that kept them from seeing their friends and families. And when they could, they held many protests during this period.
We are allowed it to quarantine at quarantine hotel, but during the quarantine, if you do a rapid test, then you are allowed it to perform another flight duty again. So if you are allowed it to do the flight duty, it means you are safe, you are healthy. Then it means you are healthy enough to do the duties. Why not healthy enough back to my home?
The pilots union recently released a statement saying, the CECC refused to change its quarantine policy for flight crews. It did not use science as the basis for epidemic prevention and also failed to administer in accordance with the law. Its epidemic prevention policies excessively restricted personal freedom and rights. The union also plans to file a lawsuit against the CECC's quarantine policies, but they hope to meet with health officials before that to see if they can resolve their issues. Ricky and Bing Wong for TaiwanPlus.
Taiwan has reported 12 new cases of Mpox in the country. The new cases bring the total number in Taiwan up to 64, including 55 that were transmitted locally. Mpox is a virus that is spread through physical contact and causes severe rashes and body aches. Taiwan Centers for Disease Control expects additional Mpox vaccines to arrive in mid-May. Besides Mpox, the CDC says parents with young children should be vigilant against a group of viruses currently spreading in Taiwan.
这一波里面，如果今年已经得过肠病毒的小朋友，也不要掉以轻心。
Hong Kong's local elections will see the number of spots filled by public votes cut dramatically. The city's district council elections are due to take place in November. Under the new nomination system, only 88 seats will be directly elected by the people. That's down from 452 spots. 179 seats will instead be chosen by the city's leader, John Lee. The remainder will be chosen by district committees. Candidates must also be screened by a pro-Beijing panel, a rule set by China after it overhauled Hong Kong's electoral system in 2021. The 3 worst countries in the world for press freedom are now all in Asia. The latest report from Reporters Without Borders ranks Vietnam, China, and North Korea at the bottom of its annual Press Freedom Index. The index was released Wednesday for World Press Freedom Day. The index ranks countries by their ability of journalists to do their job without interference. Both China and Vietnam saw the decrease in their press freedom from last year, despite their already low ranking. North Korea's position at the bottom stayed unchanged. All 3 countries censor, intimidate, and jail their journalists and media. Meanwhile, Taiwan remains among the higher-ranking countries in the world for press freedom. A conservation center in Bali is getting ready to release 21 rare sea turtles back into the wild. Police seized the turtles from a poacher over the weekend. John Van Triest has the details.
21 lucky sea turtles swim in a pool on the Indonesian island of Bali. Police say these endangered creatures were likely destined for the butcher's knife, but officers acting on tip-offs from locals seized them from a poacher on Sunday. Now they're under the care of conservationists and are waiting for release back into the sea.
Total yang dibawa dari BKSDA kemarin hasil sitaannya sebanyak 21 ekor. Dan sebelumnya di sini sudah ada 17 ekor yang dititipkan dari dulu.
These sea turtles are protected by law, and police say the case is now on its way to court.
Yang bersangkutan kita proses dengan Undang-Undang Nomor 5 Tahun 1990 tentang BKSDAE, yaitu menyimpan dan memelihara binatang yang menjadi terlindungi, hewan yang dilindungi. Itu. Ancaman hukumannya yaitu 5 tahun dan dendanya 100 juta.
That's close to $7,000 US. Though this case is cracked, the crisis facing green sea turtles around the world remains. Their numbers have dived in recent years, and not just due to hunting. Their nesting sites on beaches are disappearing, and many get caught in fishing gear or die from swallowing plastic, meaning catching poachers is just one part of the work needed to bring these turtles back from the brink. Devin Tsai and John Van Trieste for TaiwanPlus.
Seafood culture is big in Taiwan, and so is concern about its disappearance because of pollution. An artist cared so much that he created a play based on his favorite seafood, oysters. What would the creatures say if they were able to express themselves? Our reporter Yu Jingwang checks out the play, The Angry Oysters.
Pale figures slice open the theater's darkness, dragging their feet to solemn music amid oyster from poles. This opening scene of The Angry Oysters by one-player short ensemble almost looks like an elegy for the environment. It was first performed 10 years ago, but it's being restaged to keep the ongoing pollution problems before audiences. Playwright and actor Wei Junzhan was inspired by a trip to a fishing village in Taiwan's west coast. He was told by a vendor then that oysters, his favorite seafood, might no longer be safe to eat since factories were built around the area. So he wrote a contemporary fable to raise awareness of the environmental issue.
我们创造了一个魔幻的鹅啊的世界，然后让他们有自己的人际关系互动、权力关系，然后去影射出整个人类世界的各种，不管是金钱结构啊等等的各种决策。那同时，我们也会让整个人类的村庄被写实的扮演出来。对，但是呢，他们却活得如他们养的鹅啊一样生病。
The play portrays a critically thinking oyster that constantly questions its species' existence. It also presents a human world where villagers go on with their lives, facing an upcoming change with a sense of powerlessness. The human characters are all based on real people that the actors met in their field research. And every setting on stage is meant to bring viewers to the seaside villages of Western Taiwan. Be it through shells brought from its shore, or the unique accent spoken by its people.
我觉得剧场是一个非常感官经验的东西，所以我们希望是带观众在这个议题里面去感受一个感官的旅程，去感受一个可能即将消失的，或者是被边缘化的、不被重视的一种渔村的气味。然后我希望这些环境的东西，或者是污染的议题等等，是刻进身体的。
While hoping to give more attention to polluted fishing villages, people involved in the show don't think this should be their only effort.
我基本上不会去期待观众看完一出戏就改变他的人生。演出这件事情，它比较像是你丢了一个石头到池塘里，你不确定它有可能就咚咚，然后就沉没了。但不能仅止于此啦，就还必须做点别的事情。
10 years after the show first premiered, the overall problems around water pollution are only getting worse, pushing the ensemble to come up with more ways to voice their advocacy. Soon, this renewed version of The Angry Oysters will be turned into an educational project, with books and workshops for children, so the pressing issues around the environment can become more approachable for the next generation. Rick Yi and Eugene Huang for TaiwanPlus.
Thank you for watching What's Up Taiwan. Remember to download the TaiwanPlus app for more stories from Taiwan and around the world. Finally today, we leave you with images of a tortoise pageant in Taiwan's southern city of Tainan. I'm Sandy Chi, take care and see you next time.